Hey, good morning.
Hello,
Good morning,
hello.
Michelle. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks, Ange. How are you today?
I'm really great. And I am super, super excited to be doing your Bling Angel interview today. This is so that people can get to know your specialty, and, I suppose really understand where you're coming from and what you can bring to their lives if they're looking for those sort of stepping stones to that sort of change. So, how I'd like to start today is I would love just to share a little bit about how we met before we get into your Bling Angel interview. Now, Michelle and I, friends had kept telling us, I'm in Sydney, Michelle is in Canberra, and kept telling us to meet all the time. And so Michelle had reached out and said, let's have a coffee. Of course, I'm like, oh my goodness, I've heard so much about you. We've definitely got to have a coffee. And we ended up meeting at cafe in Hughes, which gorgeous Beck McFarlane put us onto. I think it's called the Ground Home Cafe. Is that right? Ground Home?
Yeah, I think that was it.
Home ground,
Yeah,
home ground cafe in Hughes. And we met there and we both said we had half an hour. We have just half an hour. We were there 3 hours later. They were packing up around us. I was doing a Bling event that night in Canberra. You were coming to the Bling night event. And I'm like, yeah, I'll see you there. I've got to go. And I needed to pick up, I think, my daughter-in-law from somewhere. It was all just like, oh, it was so funny. Anyway, so that is how we met. It was just one of those amazing things. And since then, our friendship has grown. We have made some fantastic little weekly motivational videos, which are now on YouTube, called Life's Better Together. And when we started, we hardly knew each other, but we just knew we wanted to contribute something in the week because of lockdown and all these wonderful things. Well, they're not wonderful things, but it was wonderful coming together and making the wonderful Life's Better Together. So, Michelle, now I would love to hear about you, just so that people can understand how we met. And I would love you to tell us a little about your story. Tell us a little about you so people know what your journey has been.
Okay. Well, I guess, to put some context around it, I grew up in North Queensland, where in the cane fields, didn't wear shoes, all of that sort of thing.
I love it.
Townsville in Queensland was the big smoke. The first time I ever got on an airplane was to come down to Canberra. Actually, I was 16, turning 17, and I'd been selected for National Science Summer School. And oh my gosh, we came to Canberra. And but anyway, I always had an interest in biological sciences and that sort of thing. That's where I really excelled. I wanted to be a nurse instead of being a doctor, because doctors have to study all the time. What I didn't realize was so does everybody else. But anyway, so I became a nurse and got married, had a couple of kids. I was studying to become a registered nurse when my first marriage broke down and became a single mum. And then with everything that was going on with community grants and childcare and that sort of thing, I was just like, I either have to stop my studies or I have to find part-time work. How am I going to do that with two little kids? All of that sort of thing. So a friend of mine actually put me onto an undergraduate scheme that the Australian Defence Force sponsored. More about it, and I thought, this is really good. All I'd have to do is pay back the time they sponsor me plus months. Bonza. It was only for 23 months in total. I joined the Air Force. And then I got there and I absolutely loved it because of the variety and doing something different. And, I just loved it. And so over that time, I deployed multiple times. Unfortunately, I sustained some injuries and illnesses, which meant that in 2017, I was medically discharged. And that was probably one of the lowest points of my life. And so I've rebuilt from there and joined a multi-level marketing company for a little while with skincare and that sort of thing, because I thought, oh, good, I can help people again. But I found at the end of last year that kind of wasn't really, challenging me enough. So I thought I'm going to go into mentoring because I really enjoyed mentoring throughout my Air Force career. And so, I started mentoring, started learning, what is my superpower? And my superpower is making things either, it could be manifesting, achieving goals, whatever terminology you like to use.
Making things happen.
So that's what I decided
I think
to
you're
do.
the making
and then,
things happen.
Yeah, making things happen. And I met you, and we did our clarity workshop together, and then the angel thing came along, and everything's gone kaboom. Like, it's just, I feel like I've been trundling along, not really fitting, and now all of a sudden everything's just dropped into place. And here I am, and I'm a bling angel, and I'm able to help people have conversations, have deep conversations with them, and they're like going, wow, I didn't think of that, or yeah, I've got that clarity now. And I'm just like going, yes, I love it, absolutely love it. So now living in Canberra with my hubby. Kids are all grown. So between us, we've got 4 kids and 6 grandchildren. And the youngest grandchild will be 7 in November. Crikey, that's coming up quick. So, yeah. So living life,
so
loving it.
Lovely. And I know family means a lot to you. And what people don't know is that you were amazing. You actually did a stint in Afghanistan. I think that's, close to everyone's heart at the moment. But you were actually in the trenches there.
So to speak.
Yes.
So to speak. So I did a stint where I was an evacuation nurse. So whilst I wasn't retrieving casualties from the battlefield, once they'd been retrieved, stabilised, I was then taking them to the next level of care.
Wow.
So, that was my job in Afghanistan, which was, from a clinical perspective, from a nurse perspective, oh my gosh, you could not have got better experience. Oh my goodness, from a clinical perspective, it was amazing. The stuff we were dealing with, the ability to, the lives that we were saving and stuff like that. But from a personal perspective, it was the worst experience of my life. So it was just such a
dichotomy.
Conflict. Dichotomy I'm looking for. It was just such a dichotomy. I came back from that quite unwell, and but clinically excellent, but really unwell from a mental health perspective.
But what's beautiful now is I love how you speak about your husband and the beautiful family you have. And I know not only do you contribute to your own family, you contribute to quite a few friends' families around looking after their children. So you and your hubby are doing some amazing things for everybody around you, which is really, really beautiful. And I know that I absolutely love our friendship too. So it's really great.
Thanks, Anne.
That's really fantastic, Michele. So today I'm going to ask you just some questions. I'm not going to do much talking, and so that'll be different. And I'm just going to ask you some questions because this is so people can really get to know you and know the essence of our gorgeous Michele here. So, Michele, what has been your biggest challenge and how did you jump through the hoop? And if you haven't jumped through the hoop, that's okay if you're still working on it. But what do you think your biggest challenge is that you've been able to either conquer or you're conquering?
I think the mental health issue has been my biggest problem because it actually started, my PTSD symptoms actually started when I was in Afghanistan. So I had support while I was there to cope. But then when I came back, I was put in positions which just, it was like, when you get a sore and someone keeps picking at it and it just gets worse and worse. Well, that's what happened with my PTSD until I fell apart. And it was to pick up from there. And then when I was told, look, you're not fit to serve anymore. And I had wrapped up so much of who I was with the uniform that I wore. And when I took that uniform off, I had who I was. I didn't know where I fit in the world. I was just crikey. I felt that I'd been told in big neon letters, you're useless, you're not wanted, you're just all those really negative things. And I really felt like I had no value. because I'd taken the uniform off and I wasn't contributing, used to contributing. So that was my biggest challenge, I think, was to identify a path out of that. And whilst I did have support, the individual always is the one that has to do the work. And from a nursing background, I did know the generalized steps. As an emergency nurse, you have an understanding of pretty much a lot of things. So from a psychiatric position, I did know that I needed to exercise, I needed to eat well, I needed to get myself out and gradually get into a community where I was supported and that sort of thing, which is why I went with the multi-level marketing group that I did, because they were just so lovely. Like the ladies are so lovely. Not they were, they are. They are so lovely and so positive and supportive. And, it didn't matter who I was or what I'd done. It was about going forward, and we could all win if you wanted to look at that way. So we could all achieve. And so that was a big step. That was a huge step. So I think coming out of that, and then, marrying hubby, which is we'd been together, I don't know, 7 or 8 years by the time we got married. And, life is just getting better and better. So
do you feel what jumped you through the hoop was just finding all that beautiful support again? Is that what you're saying? Once you actually started to feel supported and nurtured and you looked at your exercise and your health, life just got better and better from there. So when you're in that really low point, it's about taking responsibility, is it? And saying, I can make the changes. No one can do it for you. It's real.
Exactly right. And I think for so long, like I've never been a person, kind of woe is me, look what they've done to me, kind of, that sort of thing. I've always been, okay, it's happened. Where do I go from here?
Yeah.
And that was a really hard thing to get to when I was so low in the hole. I call it the hole, where from a mental health perspective, it was really hard to get to. Where do I go from? It would have been so easy to just go, I give up. There is nothing left for me. I give up. That was the big thing of where do I go from here? Taking responsibility and knowing that I knew that I needed to find a purpose.
Yeah, purpose
and so
and passion.
I set about finding what is my purpose. And over the last few months, it feels like I've gone from, way out here to narrowing it right down to going cluck. I know what my purpose is, and here I am.
Yeah, and what's so exciting is you're already doing Bling Angel sessions, which has been amazing. It's just like everything's falling into place quickly for you. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That is so fantastic. So what would you say you are most passionate about right now?
Passionate about right now is
what are you most passionate about in your life right now?
Yeah, well, I guess what I'm most passionate about is helping those women who have been knocked about, knocked down, all of that sort of thing. And they keep trying to get up. They keep trying to make a life for themselves. I'm like, okay, I can help you. Let's join together, and I can support you in making the life that you want, and that's where my passion is. And using the Find Your Bling, and we have fun while we're doing it.
That's my motto. You can have fun while you heal. I always say Find Your Bling is going to heal hearts all over the world, and you're going to laugh while you're doing it.
Absolutely.
I really love how the first thing that came to mind for you was that when I said, what are you passionate about right now? Yours was actually contribution. It was actually those women who'd been where you'd been when you were at that point where you felt very alone, you felt very rejected, you started to take responsibility, you found a community, you found good mentors. And what you're saying, right, as I'm hearing it, is that's who you want to help right now, because you know the steps to get out of there, you know the path. You can make it easy for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Whilst I can't do the work for them,
no,
can pave the way. And
I know, I love that. I've had a few people sign up. I've had a few people sorry, it froze. So when it freezes, I'm always throwing because it's delayed on the sound. I've had a few people enroll in courses, and I'll ring them and say, hey, you've missed a couple of weeks. They go, yeah, but I've enrolled. I'm like, yeah, it won't happen if you don't come to class. You actually have to come to class. It's like you got to do the work, you know. I think one of my favorite things I used to say to new clients is I've got good news and I've got bad news. And the good news is you're going to live. The bad news is you have to do the work. And they'd always
have to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to do the work. I can't do it for you, but I can give you heaps of tools and strategies, which you have heaps of tools and strategies too.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, that's really cool. I love that. And I super love what you're passionate about. And I think every angel, like we're all becoming so close, and I know everyone is at that huge space of contribution. You know, they're all wanting to give back and make someone else's path easier, which I love.
And I think,
sorry,
Ange, just to follow on from that, what I'm passionate about is not only helping the women on a one-to-one basis, but also fundraising and feeding money into the organisations that do the research, that actually have the resources. If they only had the money, they'd have the resources to be able to help. And so I'm really passionate about that sort of thing too, helping them raise the funds so that they can do more, because they're the ones with the expertise. So I'm really passionate about that as well.
I actually think that's just falling into place for you so easily. Fundraising has, who would have thought a few months ago when we met that that's just actually coming to you. So if you are thinking of fundraising, Michele is brilliant at giving you the path of how to fundraise for your community and your charity as well. I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
All right, we have one more question before we get to our Bling quickies. And it is, what is one golden nugget?
Bling quickies.
Our Bling quickie. What is one golden nugget you could gift women today? What is one thing you could share from their heart to your from your heart to theirs?
My heart to yours.
Yeah. What is one Bling golden nugget that you could share with them that could add value to their life?
Don't be alone. Don't put yourself in a position where you're alone. You know, like there is support there, and look for women who will accept you and adore you just the way you are, because you deserve that.
I love that, Michele. Yes, you're not alone, but you do need to reach out. And if the first group is not the right group, try the next group, because that's just building your resources. That is a wonderful golden nugget. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Michele,
absolutely.
I have absolutely loved that people have been able to hear your story, hear what you've needed to go through to get to where you are today. And you are in an amazing space, in an amazing marriage. You've got all this beautiful family around you, and it's a credit to you both. And I am so excited you're a Bling Angel, and you know that I love doing all our extra work together as well. We were just saying before we hopped on the call, we seem to talk every day. It's just so cute. It's like the bestie that you had at high school. I love it. It's just so
awesome.
Cute. And we don't even know. Awesome. It's just like every day unfolds. It's so not lovely. So we've come to that time, and I really did love your quickie. Sorry, two things were happening in my head at once. That's quite normal. So we are now at the Bling quickies, and we would love to just know you a little bit more. So if you could eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, a meal. I'm actually going to go a dessert. If I could eat rice pudding for the rest of my life, I would be ecstatic. Love rice pudding. It's just, it can be stodgy, it can be whatever you like, but oh, it's such a comfort.
It doesn't even have to be a goodie. I love that rice pudding. Now, I would have never picked that. I didn't know that about you. I love it. Okay, what is your favourite book you've ever read?
Look, at the moment, my favourite is Untamed by Glennon Doyle, because I think over the last few years, I've really started to open my eyes up to social conditioning. And, one of the things that I often talk to other women about is that generally for women, love equals sacrifice, where you sacrifice everything for your loved ones. So whether it's a spouse, whether it's children, whether it's family, elderly parents, whatever. And I'm like, no, that's a social conditioning. We need to bring this back, because as women, if we don't look after ourselves first, how are we going to look after everybody else? How are we going to spread that love if we're not full of love to start with? And we need to look after ourselves before we can look after everybody else. So Untamed has really helped me to start questioning, because unless you're aware of it, you kind of go, I didn't even think, it's just second nature. And so David, so it's just second nature that we accept that this is the way things are. And so I love it, because Glennon really challenges the social norms.
Oh, I love that. That's good advice. Good read. I love it. And that's a nice hot tip for everyone out there. And what makes you laugh the most?
My husband makes me laugh the most. He is who he is, and he loves dad jokes. And I can't help it. He just, even without trying, he makes me laugh a lot.
Oh my God, I love that so much. That's what everyone wants in their relationship. I love that so much. That's beautiful, Michele. And what song sums you up at the moment?
I think This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. You know that one where it's kind of like, taking the clothes off. This is me, and accept me for who I am. And I love that song. But if I'm looking for a song to get me up and going, it's always Uptown Funk.
Oh yeah, oh God, I love that song,
because the beat of it, and particularly when I'm at the gym and something like that, and I'm like going, oh, this is hard, and then that song comes on, it's like, oh, okay, I can do this again.
Oh, Bruno Mars, is he the best dancer in the world? I could just watch him over and over and over again, and that, I know, it's so cool. Oh, I love that. Well, I love those two hot tips. And we've come to our last question today, and it is, what is your specialty as a bling angel?
Okay, so I'm the clarity and success bling angel, because for me, if you can't see clearly, how do you know where you're going? And so for me, it's all about, for the people I work with, is shutting down that everyday noise, all the things that you've got to do, all of that sort of thing. Let's just block that out for a little bit, so that you can really listen to you and what it is that you want, and get that clarity. And then through that clarity, let's make that path to success. We're on our way.
And you can do it. Like, I mean, you are such a great role model for people that have been down that rabbit hole and taken themselves back up to love and above. You've done the work, and now you would really love to show people how to make that path so much easier than it needs to be. And I know Bling sessions with you, people have been raving about them, which is really exciting, Michele, really, really exciting. And I cannot tell you how honoured and super excited I am that you are a Bling angel. We have 12 lovely ladies, and I'm just super excited you're one of them, and on our beautiful Bling. I think it's just a Bling team, isn't it? It's like a Bling team, all just coming together and making life happen and healing hearts all over the world. Well, we have now come to the end of our time together. I can't thank you enough, Michele, for taking time today in your busy day and talking to us. And we cannot wait to see you at one of our beautiful Bling events. Michele will be running more Bling events in Canberra soon, and also up in Queensland next year. So for all you Queenslanders, you're in for a big treat. And on that note, I think we're just going to say goodbye, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you so much. Thank you.